the Wednesdays wine night with Dr. Woodley.
Whisker Wednesday wine Woodley.
Whisker Wednesday wine with Dr. Woodley. Yes. Oh my goodness. Welcome, everyone. We are joined by our favorite person on the planet, Dr. Katie Woodley from the Natural Pet Doctor.
The one and only natural
We're super excited because for those of you guys that have been following us for a while, you know that Dr. Katie, we had the luxury of being joined every month last year for quite some time for her to give some of her amazing knowledge to you guys on cats and cat health. And I know a lot of you guys are jumping over here from TikTok. And so we want you guys to hold off on your questions for just a second. She is going to be answering everybody's questions. We're going to be answering everybody's questions. But we are going to start the night by introducing our wines, of course, because it's Wine Wednesday with Dr. Woodley. So, Dr. Woodley, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a Clay House Cabernet Sauvignon.
We are also drinking a cab tonight.
You
just say
that
cab.
is my favorite right there, actually.
Really?
Is it?
Yes, it is. It actually is.
What I love about it is one, it's red. Two, it's organic, and three, it's cheap.
Yeah.
And it's very good. It's very delicious.
It's not expensive. So that's what we're drinking tonight. Let's cheers to a beautiful, we've got Peter here joining us.
Peter the Poop Man is in the house. Hello, Peter. Hey, Sarah, Nicole, and Robin, Madison. Oh my God, you guys, this is so exciting. I feel a little flushed.
I do too.
I'm so excited.
So do I. It's a bit hot in this onesie.
If you haven't noticed, Dr. Katie Woodley is wearing her
dress for the party.
Yes, she came dressed for the onesie, the kitty onesie.
Jeweled.
She's got
it's jeweled. I don't know if everyone saw that. It's jeweled right there.
Is it that? Yeah. Who can handle it?
Christy's putting up the party with 200
stars for Dr. Katie Woodley.
Let's do this.
Thank you so much, Christy.
Madison, yeah, we're like introducing the wines. We said a cab. This is Bontero.
Oh, yes. Bontero.
Clay House wines.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, and Clay House.
Is it an A? Bontera. Bontera.
Mine's not fancy.
I'm just going to do this for myself real quick.
Okay, Robin just dropped 500 stars. Now we got to get started, but thank you, Robin.
Oh boy,
Dr. Katie Woodley.
All right, and to start this off, for everyone new, anyone that may not already have Dr. Katie Woodley in their heart and know exactly who she is, Dr. Woodley, would you please give everyone just a brief overview of
who you are and
your
why
wonderment
you're so amazing.
And how and literally how you're changing the world one pet at a time, because it's remarkable.
You're so sweet. And normally I don't wear cat onesies, but I thought it was appropriate for today to kick off our Wine Wednesday. So for everyone who doesn't know who I am, I'm Dr. Katie Woodley, the Natural Pet Doctor. I'm a holistic integrative veterinarian in the Northern Colorado region, and I'm on a crazy mission to make sure you, as the amazing pet parents, have the tools, the knowledge, the education to help your pets, especially your kitty cats, live their longest, most vibrant lives through nutrition and herbal medicine and acupuncture, using essential oils, Western herbs, all of those things. So you can check out more of me at thenaturalpetdoctor.com. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And oh my goodness, I was wondering, I was like, I'm all alone now. So let's get those questions going. This is what my jam is, and helping amazing cat parents here. So I think we've all got amazing outfits. Like,
right?
I've got a hoodie. It doesn't have cat ears though, unfortunately.
I don't think mine actually.
Cat ears. There should have been cat ears on this, right? So
mine doesn't actually fit completely, especially with the clothes on underneath.
But you can't be the only one having this much onesie fun.
I love it. Oh, Jane Adrian didn't think I'd actually wear the onesie today, but this is a true fact. This was a Halloween costume that I wore to the vet clinic for Halloween, and I had cats all over me. So the picture that you saw as the promo picture was actually what I wore to work, and it made people smile and laugh through their hard times. So it was a good day. So I had to bring it back out.
All about, you know what happened? What happened was we were like, I don't know if she's
Oh
gonna
my
wear
God,
them, so
Tina.
we're not gonna wear ours. We'll just put them on the side, and then when she
Just
goes
in
to
case.
the intro,
They didn't think I was this crazy, so now they know.
We suspected, which is why we were prepared.
yes. So,
Tina coming in hot with
Tina sent
1,200
1,200 stars. Hunty.
Cheers.
Thank you so
you
much
so
for Dr.
much.
Katie Woodley.
Incidentally, Jay is drinking some wine out of a beautiful wine glass from Tina here tonight. And I'm drinking some wine out of a beautiful wine glass from Madison tonight. I work hard so my cat can have a better life.
And mine
Am I
says
right?
wine takes the edge off of adulting.
We love you guys.
And it does.
All right, you guys. So start dropping your questions. Dr. Woodley, can we start with, whoa, Laura Lee.
Laura Lee sent 50 stars.
Stars.
It's a pajama party, Pam said.
It is quite,
It's very warm. I should have taken off my shirt.
See, it is hot, right?
the real highlight of my outfit
Is the mohawk.
where, yeah. So, but it's also the warmest part.
So I'm in a conundrum.
I'm having
You're gonna start sweating. We're all gonna be sweaty by the end.
Yeah,
I
we're
might
definitely.
slip off camera and take this sweater
Everybody's
off.
like, love the PJs. I would never sleep in this, guys. It's way too warm. Even in like the dead of winter, I will not sleep in a onesie ever.
No.
No.
But yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining us. I know the questions are the unicorns are the best. Dr. Lori Kosher is here. Dr. Lori Kosher, we love you so much. And she said unicorns are the best.
Thank you. A shout out to our other
Somebody is
VIP,
the favorite.
Becky, who sent this for me because she knows how much I love the color pink and unicorns. And that is supposed to be funny.
Yes.
Denise, thank you for 50 stars.
50 stars.
I love you so much.
I have a feeling that because we're all in onesies, nobody's asking the questions because the last
I want to start, let's kick this off though, because I want to start with, you have a remarkable amount of cat clients. And I think that it's really important. We just went through an experience with our neighbor who actually took their cat to a vet that was not comfortable with cats. And it turned out to be a really tough experience. We're going to be talking about that more tomorrow. But as someone who is comfortable with cats, what are some of the things, what's like the number one or number two question that you get from a lot of your cat specific clients?
Well, I mean, food is always a big one, in terms of what should I feed my cat? And a lot of times, cat parents don't know not to feed kibble because it's promoted at most traditional vet clinics and it's easy and cats really like it. So it's like, well, my cat likes this food, so I'm going to feed this type of food. And then when you start learning about nutrition, especially feline nutrition, it can be really hard to transition them off of it. So I think definitely, what's a good food for my cat is one that comes up. Another one, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we had a question on TikTok just the other day where someone said that her vet told her that Tiki Cat was like McDonald's for cats, and instead,
and our response was, okay, if your vet is saying that Tiki Cat is like McDonald's, then I'm assuming that your vet is a pro raw species appropriate vet, right? So what does your vet recommend? And she said Purina Pro Plan.
Yeah.
And compared Purina Pro Plan to Tiki Cat, calling Tiki Cat McDonald's. What say you?
So what I say is that cats are obligate carnivores. And so that means they have no physiological requirements for carbs. Dry food is high in carbohydrates. So it's not actually meeting the needs of our cats. And our cats, one of the most common health conditions that they get as they age is kidney disease. And so if we're feeding them dry food, for one, it has very little moisture in it. So we're dehydrating them chronically over time. It's going to put more like pressure and strain on the kidneys. And then also we're not feeding them enough protein, and we're not feeding them really good, like bioavailable protein that their bodies can absorb and utilize. And so what happens is we don't see these changes, these negative changes occur right away. And so vets, they think that they're doing the best. This is what we're taught in vet school, but we don't see the adverse effects short term. These changes usually happen long term, and they can show up as urinary tract crystals, bladder issues, UTIs, kidney disease, all sorts of health issues. And so it's really hard for people to make that connection between this condition my pet is showing now is actually related to that kibble that I was feeding, because it doesn't show up right away. So that's the hard part with nutrition. And one of the battles that we fight every single day when we're talking about species appropriate nutrition, but it's the biggest game changer for your cats, is getting them on the right food. It supports optimal gut health. That helps optimal immune health. It helps all the other systems in the body. It helps them feel their best. And so that definitely is the biggest game changer for any cat parent listening to this talk.
Yeah, and urinary health too. Like just recognizing that cats are desert animals by nature, right? And that they're made to consume the moisture, the majority of their moisture from their food. And they can't make up the amount of water the moisture that they need from the water bowl because of their genetic disposition. Is that a word?
I think biological will be better. I'm going to defer
Whatever.
to Dr. Katie because this is why we have a vet here tonight. You guys, so when we make up weird words, you fix us.
It's okay. I make up words too. It's fine. So
Okay.
It makes life more fun if we make up words.
You know what? That's a good idea.
Okay, so
Jay's on the right track.
Yeah, so we got some questions coming in. Thank you, Sarah, for 19 stars.
Thank you, Sarah. Cheers. I think we got a ZB coming to help further insulate my outfit.
Wonderful. So Catherine says, please help with IBD. This is one of Dr. Woodley's masterpieces. Please help with IBD. I hate giving them steroids. They are 11 years old.
So I always go back to asking broader questions to start with, because we need to know first, like, what are we feeding? Are we feeding a kibble diet? Are they on a prescription food diet? We've talked all about prescription diets here before. So highly recommend going back and rewatching those, because I'm not a huge fan of them just because of the ingredients that are used. And a lot of times they're not very great ingredients that are going to support optimal health and help healing the body. But IBD is technically like a symptom. So inflammatory bowel disease. So we have inflammation of the GI tract. My question is, why did that happen? Something has to go wrong for this symptom, this autoimmune disease, to occur. The body doesn't just turn on itself and start attacking it. And so this a lot of times comes down to some of the first places I go to when this condition is occurring is, okay, well, let's figure out what's going on in the microbiome. So there's a lot of great tests now that like pet parents can order on their own that don't have to go through a veterinarian. So animal biome is a great one, because you can send a poop sample in and you get a really thorough report about the different types and strains and diversity of the bacteria, because the microbiome is key to optimal health. And there's trillions of different bacteria, protozoa, fungi that are present in the microbiome. And if something's off, if we had bad bacteria outnumbering the good bacteria, we're going to have issues. A lot of times we're going to have inflammation. It leads to things like leaky gut, where that gut lining gets inflamed. And now what happens is, rather than having that really tight gut lining where nothing's passing through that shouldn't, it starts leaking because we have gaps and holes. And so food, bacteria, toxins leak through, gets into the bloodstream, and it creates inflammation. And now we have this body that's really inflamed and overreactive to foods and other things, and your cat becomes really sensitive. So you try to change the diet and they get diarrhea or they vomit. So definitely doing that test would be number one. After making sure we're trying to looking at diet. Number two, to go along with diet, is making sure that the foods we're feeding don't contain inflammatory ingredients. So carrageenan is very common in a lot of foods. And as we've talked about in the past, it's actually in a lot of prescription diets. Right. So typically your canned foods will contain carrageenan. It's a thickener. So this is where learning how to read ingredient lists is very, very important to make sure that we're not accidentally putting something in that's creating more inflammation in the gut and fueling that fire and keeping your cat on this horrible path where you have to use steroids to reduce inflammation. So reading pet food labels, looking at how can we transition to a species appropriate diet, doing some of the diagnostic tests. A lot of times these kids are vitamin B deficient, B12 deficient. So there are tests through Texas A&M GI panel that you can ask your veterinarian to run to look at cobalamin levels, TLI, and gain a better idea of where are things deficient? Are there excesses? So you have a better idea, do I need to supplement for these to help support gut health, but also support the immune system? So those are just a few starter points that I'd be looking at, if I was to start working with a kitty with IBD.
And would you recommend things like probiotics, digestive enzymes, things like that, as far as like possibly even an alternative to steroids?
Yeah, so the biggest thing when pet parents come to me, their pets are on steroids, is we don't want to take them off immediately. So
Right.
there has to be a weaning process that occurs. So I talk about it, I follow like a 4R protocol where we're removing inflammatory ingredients, we're removing things that are creating inflammation, make sure we're testing for parasites, if there's not something that's like causing that inflammation to continue, because you can do all the things in the world right. But if we miss something, like we're feeding carrageenan, it's going to inhibit the amount of healing that can occur. And then this is where we want to like replace things like digestive enzymes, especially if they've been on, say, a kibble diet or a highly processed food diet. A lot of times these pets' gut health is off. The pH is not correct. It's a bit too high to process high carb diets. And they're lacking the digestive enzymes. They haven't been like turned on because the pH is off. And so now we have a problem where they're not digesting their food appropriately. So this is where I really love adding in digestive enzymes to help break down the fats, the carbs, the proteins. So this is where you'll see enzymes that have proteases, lipases, amylases, cellulases, just to make it easier on your cat's digestive tract. For probiotics, they definitely can play a place like for treating this. However, if we have like a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, if we add in certain types and strains of probiotics, it can actually flare them up. So if you have a cat that you've tried this and that like did not work and go well and they had a flare up, that could be what's going on. And that's where some of these additional diagnostics can really help identify that. So there's a lot of different types of probiotics out there. And I always say your cat's an individual, and sometimes you have to try different ones to see what works best for your pet. And also, too, if you're doing those animal biome tests, this is where they do like fecal transplant capsules. So this is a nice, like broad spectrum of putting like the good stool, the good microbiome back into your cat. So that's a great option too. And if you have a really sensitive cat, I always say like start with like half the dosage. So you're not giving it every single day because it can sometimes be a bit strong. But that would be like, we need to lay the foundation first, start healing some of the inflammation, and then we start gradually taking away the steroids. It's removing steroids. Yes, we need to get the pets off of them if we can, because it is contributing to more inflammation, leaky gut. It's affecting the microbiome, but there's a time and place for it, and we have to do it slowly and start repairing the gut before we remove it.
I think I remember Jackson Galaxy talking about this when we did an interview with him, and he was basically saying, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, is that IBD, IBS, and he called it like a big bucket that all digestive issues are kind of thrown into. So I love that you really kind of shed light on this is something
Finding out what the root is.
You have to really kind of go through these diagnostics and take those extra steps to.
Now I feel weird.
To,
I'm the only one with
no
something
one's
on my
wearing
head.
that here, but I had to take it off. I am so hot.
I know it's hot. Sorry, you can't.
Okay, let's keep going because we got more questions coming in. Nicole said, do you recommend any dry food or just wet?
So for my kitty cats, this is one of the things that if we can avoid dry food, I would never feed dry food. And the reason why is because of what I was stating before, is that it's really high carbohydrate and it's very addictive. And so when cats get on dry food, and I've had kibble addicted cats too, is that it can be really difficult to transition them even to a wet food diet. Now, what's going to be closest to a species appropriate diet for cats? A raw food diet. Now, a raw food diet's not for every animal. So sometimes we need to fix the digestive tract, work on that microbiome. Sometimes, like our older kitties, it's just a little too cooling energetically for them. And so feeding like a lightly cooked diet, or even there's a lot of great dehydrated or freeze-dried diets that are out there too. So those are great options, because what we're looking for is what foods can we feed that are closest to like the natural form, have less processing. So there's less chemicals that are being made in that processing of that food, and also less ingredients. And that's what's going to help your cat thrive. So if you have a cat on kibble, I highly, highly recommend trying to transition them away, at least to a canned food will be better, making sure you're reading ingredient lists, because that carrageenan hides out in so many of them. And ideally, if your cat's healthy, happy, transitioning them, try to get them to a raw food diet. because that can make a huge difference to helping them maintain optimal weight, feel their best. It supports a healthy microbiome. It just supports overall health for our cats long term.
Yeah, so many questions on wet or dry. Oh, wow, it doesn't work with my mittens. Wet or dry. Oh, Trisha sent
Whoa.
500 stars.
Is
Is
this
this
the
you,
Trisha?
Trisha, thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you
Trisha.
for Dr. Katie Woodley.
Oh, this is getting deep and quick and
Okay.
deep. All
Yeah,
right.
we have, okay, wet or dry.
Ooh,
Okay.
Monica,
has,
let's pull that one up.
okay. I have 4 cats. 3 are overweight. I'm trying to change their diet and bring their weight down. One of the 4 is extremely overweight and doesn't eat until everyone else has, and then she eats everything else. This makes it very difficult to put her on a diet. One of my males is really picky, and if he doesn't like the wet food, I give him, he will only eat dry kibble. He is also the only one that has diarrhea regularly.
Love that you're here tonight to help answer this question.
So let's dissect this. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we have a kitty that's already overweight, the good thing is they're waiting for everyone else to eat their food. So this probably actually makes it easier to limit the amount of food that they're getting. So this is where it can be really important to make sure we're feeding a species appropriate diet. High carb diets can actually create insulin resistance, make it harder for them to lose weight. So this is why a lot of cats, where they're on kibble, diabetes is quite common in these cats. And so if that cat is waiting, what you can do is have measured out the amount of like calories that cat should be eating for the day and remove the rest of the cat's food. So that way, you know how many calories that one cat is getting. And also keep in mind the calories that you're feeding for a lean body condition score. So when I say body condition score, this is where we are feeling our kitties. We're petting them all the time. This is where you can run your hands along the side of them. You should be able to just feel their ribs. When you run your hand over their like top, like they shouldn't be too thin where we feel like their spinous process of their spine. We shouldn't be able to easily feel their hips, but they shouldn't feel squishy. I always say like squishy kitties are not healthy kitties. They shouldn't be squishy or round. Sometimes cats will have that belly that kind of hangs a little bit, especially if they've lost weight, and a lot of cats won't lose that. So I don't always say like seeing that tummy tuck when you look at them from from the side, but this is where getting your hands on them and really feeling like, do they feel squishy? Uh-oh, we need to cut back. So this is very important for if you are determining the calories to feed your cat, because you don't want to feed them for the current weight they are, because that will maintain their weight. Right. So make sure you are feeding for the weight that you want them at. So that would be number 1. Well, number 2, first, make sure they're on like an ideal diet that will help support proper insulin regulation, blood sugar levels. Now, in terms of the picky kitty that doesn't like the wet food, how long are you waiting before you give in? That's my question. This is the hard part. And like, I love what Jay and Adrian say is like your 3 Ps, right? Your persistence, perseverance, and patience, right? Yeah. Did I say it right?
Patience and perseverance pays. Yeah.
Okay. So that's where making sure that we aren't just giving in because we're like, oh my gosh, you're going to get sick. And it's only been like 8 hours. And so this is also where trying different textures, different consistencies of food is very helpful, because I have a picky cat and I have to rotate the different types of like proteins that I'm using, the different textures. One day she loves like the mousse texture. Another day she loves the raw food. Other days she likes like the chicken. Other days she likes the rabbit. And so I have a variety in my house. It sucks sometimes, I'm not going to lie, but that way I can kind of rotate what I'm doing with her. And so that way I can keep her off of kibble, because we adopted her as a senior. I know she was kibble fed her entire life, and we've got her off of kibble. This is also where you can try things like freeze-dried diets dry to try to transition them, or you can take the kibble, crumble it up, and put it onto that canned food is another great way. There's other tips too, like people will use like a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. I use an organic freeze-dried chicken and crumble it. And my Tico cat, he knows the name Chicky now. I'm like, do you want your Chicky? And then he's like, And I'm like,
Chicky.
yeah, I'm like, you're not eating your food because you're waiting for Chicky. But at least it's not like I'm not going back and to a kibble diet and feeding him that. So those are some tips to try. The biggest thing too is like it's okay if like they eat a meal in the morning and you wait 24 hours for the next meal. Do not leave kibble down. Don't leave food down all the time for them to graze. It will make it so much harder to transition them.
Yeah.
So set those meal times up for them.
Yeah. And I think it's also helpful sometimes for us to feed our cats in separate rooms.
Yep.
Too, especially, and we notice that because we have a Hoover Boo, is what we call him.
Who squishy butterball.
He's not the fastest eater. He's not like a scarf and barf or anything like that.
He doesn't take his time.
He takes his time eating, but then he goes around and he's like, who left something on their plate? And he's also the one that needs to lose weight. So it's like if we feed him somewhere separately and he just gets his food, and then everybody else, we pick everybody else's, like you said, pick everybody else's up when they're done, or only feed them enough as much as they need. A lot of times we as cat parents overfeed our cats. We give them a lot more just in case they want extra. So I think that's helpful too. Where are we at?
Is it Aaliyah?
Is this Aaliyah?
Okay. I don't have my glasses on.
I'm currently fostering a mama cat with 5 4-week-old kittens. 4 out of 5 are eating solids, along with, yes, God bless you, feeding from mom, but one will not eat solids. Should I just be patient in this weaning process, even though her brothers have been progressing faster? You know what? And it's only 4 weeks. They're only 4 weeks old, 5, 4-week-old.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
Yeah. So personally, I would be patient. Yes. What we have done to successfully wean kittens from their mama onto solid food is just using KMR. So when we'll take kitten milk replacement and we'll sprinkle it just like Parmesan cheese or any of the other things.
Nursing a mama.
Yeah, but I think 4 weeks is absolutely fine. We're still, what is it? It's like 5 to 6 weeks though. Usually, yeah. So 4 weeks is fine. But when we get to that point, if we put a little bit of the KMR on top of that wet food and offer it to them, that's how we have successfully been able to get cats transitioned from their mamas. Because I had a cat before I even tried this, I had a cat that literally literally nursed for like 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, each cat's different. That's the other thing too. So I wouldn't be super worried at this point, but I love those tips, and as long as they're not like losing weight or there's an issue, I wouldn't be worried about that.
Yeah. Especially at 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Let me also throw out thekittenlady.org is an amazing resource.
Yeah.
She's got amazing videos that walk you through each life stage of kittens. And it can be something that's really helpful when you're, as you are, being an amazing human and fostering a mama cat and her babies.
Yes. Okay. Wow. So many. Okay. We're way behind.
Hey, Nicole.
I also have a problem where my cats are scratching their ears where the fur falls off. I did switch them to Tiki. Is this because of gut health? Maybe. I checked them for fleas and they're clean. Not sure why they scratch so much.
So this is where, so there's a lot of reasons for like itchiness. So it can be an internal issue, it can be an external issue. And this is where also it can be like an external parasite. So that's good that you checked for fleas because that can definitely make them itchy. Making sure also like looking internally in the ears too. Is there any like black discharge, waxy buildup? Cats can be prone to things like ear mites that can make them really, really itchy and scratch their ears. So, and it's contagious too. So if one cat gets it, it can spread to dogs and cats and other animals in the house. So just that would be, you would need to take them into the vet. They take an ear swab, they look under the microscope and we see the little mites moving all around. And so that's where you can get the medicine to clear it up. So definitely if you're seeing that, take them into the vet, get them checked out. But this is also where this could be an allergy. So cats can be prone to environmental allergies. But then also Here's the thing. If we're seeing a lot of cats doing this, that my concern would be, do we have some parasite or something else going on in the house? If we're seeing multiple cats all of a sudden have a new behavior. If it's just one cat that's starting to flare up and has never had an issue before, then 100% yes, this could be a gut health issue. It can be a food sensitivity. It could be related to this leaky gut condition. It can be directly related to the microbiome. And so if they do already have leaky gut, even switching them to better quality food, they can still have a reaction to that because their gut is not tight anymore. Now it's leaky. And so any proteins, if they're not digesting, if they're lacking digestive enzymes too, to break down those food particles into the amino acids and that are absorbed, and that's what's giving the cells nutrition. The problem is those food particles are passing through into the bloodstream, and the body goes, whoa, there's something wrong here. This shouldn't be here. This is foreign, and it mounts an immune response. So anytime we see things like hot spots, they're scratching themselves raw, they're getting ear infections, they're having anal gland issues, I'm always going back to what's going on in the gut health. And that's where doing some of the things we just talked about to optimize gut health, I would 100% do, and see if that helps alleviate the problem, or doing those additional testings that we talked about too.
Yeah, and I just have to do a quick shout out because Feline Essential OxyCat is how we, with this little boy, when he and his sister were kittens, had, yes, say hi, Zoe.
This one.
They came to us with ear mites. And we were able to kick him out at home using OxyCat. We just used a Q-tip and cleaned out their ears. And this boy still gets dirty ears from time to time. He gets more of like waxy ears for whatever reason. And we still use that as well. So link is in the description if you guys need to clean your cat's ears.
Awesome.
Okay. Sherry said, is this a question? Let's see. It's a big one. Oh my God, my cat will cry and cry, follow us around, crying, talking. If we sit to watch TV, he will jump right in front of us and continue to meow if I don't give him treats, temptations.
He's very overwhelmed.
It's tempting because it's trash. Throw it away. Sherry, throw it away. Throw away the temptations.
So many amazing treats out there that cats go crazy for that are not healthy. And Sherry, the temptation treats, and so many of us. I mean, so many of us.
Honestly, I used to use them for my cats because they will do anything for them.
Yeah, it's cat
McDonald's. That's McDonald's right there.
Yes, that is McDonald's. But if you look at the ingredients, if you just read the ingredients, it's corn, it's wheat, like it's completely full of just starches and carbs and everything. Especially for an overweight kitty, you don't want to be feeding the problem, right? And that's kind of what we're doing when we're using these Temptations treats, these treats that they love, but can be replaced with something very. I mean, even if you just have your own chicken breast at home, right? And cut it up and cook it in the oven and give them little pieces here and there. It's going to be so much healthier when it comes to the treat. Sorry.
One more thing I want to add before I defer to the professional here is that I think especially when we're dealing with vocalization, our cat knows what they're saying to us. And so this is going to be a bit of breaking a bad habit. So that's going to start with throwing out the Temptations and getting a good freeze-dried treat like a green juju. I saw in the comments, Laura Lee said Origin freeze-dried cat treats are she uses. But it's going to also, if you've got a cat that's very like food focused, food driven,
it's going to be easy to train.
Easy to train, but maybe also start looking at getting them in a good diet that you give multiple meals throughout the day, so they're not necessarily as hungry. And then you can really, and we're our cat's only choice for a better diet, a better life. And so starting by getting rid of the Temptations. Yes. I know it's hard. And then as Dr. Katie was talking about earlier, doing that calorie count, and we've got a link on our blog about how to count those calories for a healthy body weight, and just start working with him, baby steps, and don't get frustrated, be patient.
And I also want to say that a lot of people think that cats can't be trained, that it's only dogs that can be trained, but cats can absolutely be trained. We want to make sure, all of us as cat parents, and we are so guilty of this, but we never want to reward unwanted behavior. So if your cat is doing something that you don't want them to do, then we don't give them food or give them treats at the time, and because they're going to continue coming back. You're training them in the opposite way that you want to train them.
Hard.
But yeah, positive reinforcement, like you were saying, positive reinforcement is a great way to train our cats, but we never reward good or bad behavior. Or
Dr. Katie,
by bad behavior, I mean unwanted behavior, because it's not really bad.
It's not bad. We just, yeah, exactly. But no, I agree 100% with everything that you're saying. And, you know, getting freeze-dried, like organ treats, like freeze-dried treats are a great substitution, but also I love like the small meals throughout the day if you're able to. But like this little guy behind me, that's my Moki. If I were to make a pig noise, he'd probably look up because my wonderful husband has trained him to come running to a pig snort. That's how like much you can train cats. Like,
wait.
Could
do you want me to try it? I don't know if he'll probably
I just want to hear you make a
want to
pig
try.
noise.
I want to hear you. We missed it. Do it again.
See, no, he's looking. Well, he's looking. Yeah, like no, he's fully alert now. He wasn't before. Like he wouldn't look at me if he like he was just sleeping. Like,
And there you have it, people.
there you have it. Like
There you
so,
have
be
Dr. Katie
careful
Woodley.
what you train into your animals because I mean he's fine. Like we get but it's interesting watching him being trained with that. Like he's. Yeah, you think you're going to get fed now, but
So Adrian has a specific whistle. Would you like to do your whistle?
yeah.
That makes all of our cats come. It's like a circus type.
You should because it'll like bring them all to you right now.
Maybe.
But I look so weird when I whistle. I can't. Okay, I'll do it over the side. But I'm smiling, so I can't. It can't.
And they all can't give. They're not gonna. We have nothing to give them.
It's a circus whistle.
And none of them are coming. They were like, oh, we heard her talking beforehand. She's just trying to show off. Whatever.
Not nearly as entertaining as your pig grunt. That was amazing.
Ryan does it better. I don't use it with him usually, but yeah, like look, like fully alert. He's our like little pig in disguise, so it fits him perfectly.
Oh my!
Now he's going back to sleep. See?
He's like, oh, you meant nothing by that.
Liar.
Okay, Darby said, can a cat get
C. diff? So Clostridium difficile. That's what she's referring to.
So. God, you're here.
So glad that you're
well, fun fact, my husband has had this and it almost killed him years ago. So this can be that. So this is pretty different from like animals to people. And there are different Clostridial strains in our pet's microbiome that are actually necessary for them. So this is where sometimes you'll have like your vet will run a diarrhea panel that's looking for pathogenic or bad bacteria. And I always kind of take that with a grain of salt because it's like, okay, well, we have a dysbiosis or an imbalance of good versus bad bacteria. But that's where doing those animal biome tests are really helpful because you can see like, do they have a healthy microbiome? Do they have diversity? Or do they have moderate, severe dysbiosis? And we need to do something about that now, even if they seem like they're healthy, because that will affect them long term. So they can definitely get imbalances in their bacteria. Like I find it's rare when I see patients with a healthy microbiome. That's how common it is to have dysbiosis. And here's the thing, C. diff will not be like, so say like my husband had it. Like I could get it from him if I wasn't careful. It's very infectious. But like if a person has it, they're not going to pass it on to their cat or their dog. So you don't have to worry about that. That's not contagious to your pets. Humans can definitely get it though and make them really sick.
And what is the word? C. diff? What is the
Clostridium difficile? It's a type of bacteria.
Okay.
Oh my gosh!
Okay,
thank
wow.
God that you were there. Sorry, Debbie, that looks like
I know it all too well, unfortunately. Here's a fun fact for everyone here, because this is literally what saved my husband's life. And this is why it is so important to empower yourself with the education and continue to learn, is that his doctor did not test for it. He has IBD. So this is also why gut health is very important to me personally and also to my patients. But his doctor did not test for it. He was very, very sick. I had to ask for that test. And so if I hadn't known to ask for it, he probably would have actually died. That's how sick he was. And so this is like, it's insane. And that's why it's so, so, so important to keep learning and to keep educating yourself, because I have people that come to me that know a lot of information, which I love because I even learn from my own clients, which is great, and so I think that's really, really important.
Let's talk a little bit. Dr. Odette
Odette.
is here in the house.
Dr. Odette, I don't know if she thought I would actually wear this, but she knows me well enough. She probably thought I would. So love that you're here.
Yes.
Next,
so let's talk a little bit about, because we're over 40 minutes now. So let's talk a little bit about continued education.
So in terms of like, where can people go?
Exactly.
Yeah. So in terms of educating yourselves, I mean, this is where like following the two crazy cat ladies, following myself, following Dr. Odette, following Lori Kosher, there's so much information out there, which is so incredible. Like there's so much free information out there now. I find the hard part that people have is putting it all together, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem, because it's super overwhelming, right? Like who here has ever felt overwhelmed? Like just drop a comment. Like, have you ever felt overwhelmed? Like, I know I have, especially like when I was at the start of like my holistic health journey, when my husband was originally sick, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's got to be a better way. I have no idea where to go. And so then you end up in the rabbit hole. You're spending hours researching and learning and trying to figure it all out. And then what you have to do is you have to try to figure out, well, okay, that sounds good, but is this safe for my cat? And then you're stuck second guessing like what's happening and is this okay? Am I over supplementing, which is so common? I mean, I've been there. It's very easy to do because there's all this information that says that these things are good, and you just don't know how to implement it for your cat. So we actually created a program. It's called the Healthy Holistic Pet for Life Blueprint. And what it essentially does is I created it because, for one, getting into the vet clinic is crazy hard right now. And two, a lot of clinics have closed down and pet parents don't have support. And so what I wanted to give back to pet parents is the ability to come to one place, find the tools, find the information, find the support on how to work through those 5 pillars of health. So how to implement physical health, that environmental enrichment, how to help your pets age gracefully, how to really truly get good optimal gut health through nutrition, how to optimize immune health, how to focus and work on emotional health, and then how to look at the environment and optimize it to reduce toxins and support healthy detox pathways. But that wasn't enough, because I was like, that's more information, right? And so I was like, how else can we support and serve pet parents? And this is where creating a private community, so that way you can ask questions. It's private, it's safe to ask questions. There are no dumb questions, everything. The community is like-minded. It's not on Facebook, but so it's not going to go away because I'm holistic. So, but there's a nice, amazing community to support you, cheer you on, and provide a place for you to come when your pets are going through things, but also to like share your wins and celebrate and just like have a conversation. And then the really neat part that I love teaching, I love educating, but I also love helping to guide you with your individual pet's care. So we do a 2-hour weekly Q&A every single week, because you go through the information. I want you to start implementing and taking action so you can get the transformations for your pets. I've been through 3 pets now with cancer. I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I've made. And a lot of times those mistakes are being repeated by a lot of people just because they don't know. And just because we're going to a traditional vet and they haven't gone through this process of the wake up, like they may not have gotten sick, or they don't even realize that there's this other world of medicine. And so you're hearing like kibble is good, feed these foods, and you just don't know because they don't know. And so that's this entire platform, this program. It's lifetime access, so that way you are supported throughout the life of your pet. And our community is incredible. There's so many amazing people just like this. I love it.
It really is. It really is. We are lucky enough to be a part of this, what we're calling an insurance program, because can you even imagine being able to have, I mean, so many, I don't know how many times a day we get people that are like, there are no holistic vets in my neighborhood. There is no one like anywhere close to me, no integrative vets, no one that knows anything about natural health or is regurgitating anything, is even saying anything along the lines of what you guys are saying. And to have a lifetime access to you and all of your knowledge and have your questions answered, and the community, we've only dabbled in the community. We're newbies, but we've only dabbled in the community for a little bit, but it's so exciting to be able to be surrounded by like-minded pet parents.
Well, and I think, you really hit on it tonight earlier in the Q&A, taking something like IBD. And so often we'll go to the vet and they'll be like, well, let's start steroids. Yeah. And we're not looking at what are the tests that we can run to try to get to the root of this issue. What are some of the things that we need to be looking at to foundationally change first and foremost to then move forward. And I love that two beautiful humans that we know and love are here tonight. Trisha said, Dr. Katie, yes, I love it. Dr. Katie said,
they're amazing, Trisha. And there is lots of tea involved. I love giving ideas surrounding tea because everyone has access to tea. So Trisha, I love you.
Wonderful. It's my
Madison.
And Madison, I 100% agree. Yes, the Corsi community is amazing. I've learned so much. Yes.
I just think it's incredible that there's so many resources out there now, and learning so much from you, and how I love that you always look at our cats as individuals.
Yes.
You said that so many times tonight, and I think it's so important for everyone that to first and foremost recognize that all of their cats are individuals, and that it's not just about getting everyone in a new food or doing one big blanket thing for everyone. Sometimes it takes really kind of diving in, but knowing the questions to ask and feeling like we have someone to kind of hold our hand on that journey when it's hard.
Oh my gosh, it's something that nobody gets. And you're now offering. I taught Katie everything she knows
about Trisha. It's true. Trisha,
she's the best. Well, if
Trisha holds me accountable, so in our community.
Oh,
one of the things we love about her in our community as well.
She's very good at that. If any of you guys are interested in learning more about this lifetime access, link is in the description here to see if it's a good fit for you guys. To see if, especially if you guys have multiple pets, this can be like really, really life-changing. If you have dogs and cats, or like us, 6 cats, and it's like, I can get help here and take this cat to the vet here. But there's, so many different things going on when we have multiple pets that we really need to be able to maybe save on that money and have instant access. So if you guys are interested, link is in the description here.
I just want to point out that Dr. Odette said,
I'm a bit disappointed.
I couldn't find them, Odette. I know the outfit's not complete. I'm missing kittens and the curlers and the glasses. I know. It's like I seriously like scoured my entire basement with my husband. That's how much. I don't know where they went. It's been like I think 8 years since I've worn this. Like,
wow,
and it still fits so well. I like this. Like
I can't even move.
I can't even move.
It's the jewels.
It's the jewels.
It's quite warm though. I'm not gonna lie. And I saw at the very beginning someone mentioned like the onesies with the booties. I 100%. That was like my childhood. These do not have booties. I literally looked for one and I couldn't find it. I believe I got this at Walmart, by the way, if anyone wants to see if they're still available.
Not that we're promoting Walmart, but I think this came from Walmart too.
Probably.
Pretty sure.
I know they have amazing onesies, to be honest. Like if you need a onesie, like check out Walmart.
The little butt flap, that's my favorite. Never used it. For anyone wondering, I've never used it, but I like that it's there.
Just in case. I think that's more for like the children. But hey, you never know, right? Like when you have Clostridium difficile, you may need the butt flap. So
I'm ready to back around.
Yep.
Cheers, Dr. Katie. We are so grateful for you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Katie Woodley will be joining us for Wine with Dr. Woodley every month now. She has promised. So we will let you guys know. We may not always
wear the onesies, but we had
I have to get creative now.
Okay. Yeah.
Denise has a rabbit onesie.
But I'm definitely ripping this off and like 0.5
Uh,
seconds.
Dr. Woodley, for everyone here that wants to go stalk you as we have,
Yes.
please let them know where they can find you, the platforms that you're
Learn more.
on, all the resources that you already have available, and where they can contact you to see if they'd be a good fit for your program.
Yeah, so we're at thenaturalpetdoctor.com. We're also on Facebook, The Natural Pet Doctor, Instagram, The Natural Pet Doctor, our YouTube, Dr. Katie Woodley, The Natural Pet Doctor. And if you have any questions, of course, use that link, schedule a call to learn more about the program. It's a lifetime access program. Once you're in forever. You get me forever. And maybe I'll have to like up my onesie game, but for our Q&As in the community. But if you have any questions or if you about the program, how it looks, things like that, you can always send us an email at info@thenaturalpetdoctor.com too.
I love it.
Thank you
love
so
it. Thank you,
much.
everyone. And
Whoa.
Trisha for 200
Trisha.
stars.
She said, I suppose I can give the ladies a few stars for their onesies. Thank you, you
Thank you,
beautiful
Trisha.
love.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, you guys, Dana is here and she has an Eeyore onesie. That's
Amazing. See, this can be updated. I mean, it's missing ears.
Yeah.
There's
I
no
mean,
ears. Like,
that's a
that's really
ripoff. I mean,
cute.
yeah.
look
And I
at-
mean, cats aren't purple. And maybe, in an ideal world, they would be, but
In ideal
Don't-
world, all
no,
cats are
those
purple.
Those are
they're all
fine.
purple.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that offline.
I love it. Everyone, drop where you got your onesies, by the way. I would love to hear where you got your onesies.
Yeah.
Give us the links. We need to go
Everybody let
shopping.
us know. We're going to, yeah.
And Madison, next Q&A in our program, onesies at our Q&A. So if you want onesies and additional pet care help for all of your pets, make sure you check us out at the Blueprint program. So
Love it. Thank you, Dr. Katie, so much for joining us. And thank you all for joining us. We will see you again tomorrow for Think About It Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. It is going to be a fun one. We're going to tell you some stuff that we have just recently learned over the past few days.
And it's about animal control, so you don't want to miss it.
And it's about animal control. So do join us. And then for our podcast again at 2:30 tomorrow. We have no idea what the F we're talking about, but come join us. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you very soon.
Thank you again, Dr. Katie. Love you.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night.